Hey, everybody, this is Eric Diamond, and you're listening to The Mike Wagner Show.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios.
Hi, this is Mia Mosinzia, also known as Mia No Time for Love. Check out my latest book, Missing, available on Amazon.
The Mike Wagner Show, also brought to you by The Sweet Summits by Serena Wagner, available on Amazon. Highlight the Book of David.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios, brought to you by our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Mosinzia, Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Coming soon, Missing 2 by Mia Mosinzia, double the suspense, double the fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by Sweet Summits by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 exquisite paintings. Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Summits Serena Wagner, and brought to you by Eric Diamond Music, Sensei Swing with All of Me, new music coming soon. EricDimeMusic.com. We're here with a terrific gentleman who's a personal trainer of 30 plus years, jiu-jitsu black belt, and pastor at a church and author. He began his career many years ago, keeping records of every client and owner of fitness and more. Also a first-class personal trainer, innovator of the 3W system fitness. We'll find out what that is. He also won Mr. South Illinois bodybuilding title back in 1990 and a top 5 finisher at the Mr. Midwest competition. He has a book out which combines decades of hands-on experience, practical wisdom, delivering a transformative guide for losing fat, building muscle, and overall well-being, which is the gospel of fitness. Live, ladies and gentlemen, at Plus Studios outside St. Louis in a town called Grant City, Illinois. The multi-talented personal fitner of 30 years, jiu-jitsu black belt, and pastor at Gracie's Church, multi-talented Steve McKinney. Steve, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me on the show, Mike. I'm very excited about being here. We're going to talk about some fun stuff today.
Yes, and definitely indeed. And I'm already looking forward to talking fun stuff. You're a personal trainer, 30 plus years, jiu-jitsu black belt, pastor at Gracie's Church, and also you're an author as well. You began a career many years ago, keeping records of every client. You're the owner of fitness and more. First-class personal trainer, innovator of the 3W system of fitness. You won Mr. South Illinois bodybuilding title back in 1990, top 5 finisher at the Midwest competition. You have a book that combines decades of hands-on experience, practical wisdom, delivering a transformative guide for losing fat, building muscle, and overall well-being, science-based strategy, and more. It's the gospel of fitness. Before getting all that, Steve, tell us how you first got started.
So let's go way back, Mike. Let's go way back.
Way back, Sherman, way back.
I'm 9 years old, and I'm watching the wide world of sports back when they have Alexei from Russia doing the clean and jerk over 500
Oh, I remember
pounds.
that. How can you lift like, what was it, 1,000 pounds or something? How do you do that?
It was over 500. It was amazing. And then watching some Mr. Universe, I was always intrigued by strength and muscle. I just thought it was the coolest thing. So here I am, 9 years old. It's my birthday. My grandpa wants to buy me something. I tell him, I'm like, Grandpa, I love weights. So he takes me to a place called Kmart. Are you familiar with Kmart at all, Mike?
Oh, we've had that where I used to live. There was just a Kmart everywhere. You bought whatever, even like a hot dog, one of those Slurpees. You bought a record, you bought some clothes and everything. You wanted something, it was always there at Kmart, even those blue light specials.
I was going to say, you gotta have the blue light special going on as well. And all the podcasts I'm on, when I mention that, most everyone knows what Kmart is most about. So anyway, they had some weights there, and my grandfather bought me some weights, and they were called the Ulkatron. They had a big K in them, and it was a 110-pound set. And I took it home, and I always say that, like with lifting weights, they call it iron, and you get bit by the iron bug, and you just kind of love it. Well, back then it was more, they were cement based, they had plastic coating. So I guess I would have got bit by the cement bug back then. And
or it's rock solid, you could say too.
There you go. So I brought that home. I bought a book by a guy named Franco Columbu. And Franco Columbu is Arnold Schwarzenegger's training partner. He had this book. He trained 2 hours a day, 6 days a week. And here I am, 9 years old, training, not making any gains, but loving every minute of it. And so, but that I just stayed with I stayed with the weight training program, and I continued to do it. I just continued to love it. I was always active in sports. And so, Mike, what I did was, eventually there was a point in time where both my parents passed away. They passed away very young, and so I'm living at home by myself. And I turned my local gym closed. I turned my garage into a gym. I went to the city. I got a business license in a residential area, and I just had people coming in and out of the gym and with monthly members. And I was also making all of the residents in the area mad because I'm taking up all the parking on the street. People are mad. And so they're coming in at all hours of the night. So there's a point though when I noticed, I'm like, man, people are always asking me, write up a routine for me, show me how to lift, give me a diet. So I just kind of thought about it, and I thought, I'm going to turn this in. This is when personal training wasn't even a thing. So I thought, I got to figure out how to be a personal trainer. So there's this magazine, it's called Muscle and Fitness. And in the back, they had a little ad for $5. You send off and you get this book on how to be a personal trainer. So I send that off, read that book from cover to cover, and I get started. Then what I did was I started exploring and just expanding. And I started keeping track, Mike, of what people could do. And what I did, I kept detailed records, but it wasn't what they could do for a short period of time. It was what they could do for a lifetime. So I was trying to create, even back then, a lifestyle of fitness. So as I started figuring out what they could and couldn't do and what actually worked. And so what I was looking for was the most efficient way to train, the safest way to train, and the way to train for what I call aging gracefully. Because what happens to us, Mike, at about 35, if you don't do anything, you begin to lose muscle and you begin to lose strength. And so I put this system together. I called it the 3W approach to fitness. And if you hold up 3 fingers, it makes a W. It's weight training, walking, and watching your diet. And I put those things together. And here's what's crazy. You look at what goes on in the fitness industry now, and it's not regulated at all. So what you see is just a plethora of information. My workouts, Mike, are 15 minutes long, which sounds insane. But I get just as good as results for people in that short period of time as they would for working out an hour a day. Because a lot of times, I sent a guy in last week in my gym, and he comes in, and very nice guy. He says, "Hey, Steve, I just saw you. I heard about you. I heard you're a really good trainer, but I like to work out 5 days a week, an hour at a time." His name's Matt. I said, "Matt, that sounds like a part-time job to me. That's 20 hours a week." I said, "Now, if you like to do that and you like to socialize in the gym, feel free to do so. But I don't use the gym for socializing. The gym, to me, is a place where I'm training with the weights." And so anyway, I took him through what I call a high-intensity workout. Mike, it takes me 2 exercises to change people's minds. Took him on an ab machine and a pull down, and he said, "Wow." And so I took him through the 15-minute workout. He signed up. He's all in. And because he understood the process. So with weight training, here's the number one thing we do with that, Mike. What we do is we build muscle. That is what weight training is for. Everything that I do has a specific purpose. I write about this in the book. I write about just specifically training your muscles in the biomechanical fashion that they're supposed to be trained. Meaning I give people a strength through a full range of motion. Mike, let me explain something to you. And when people question like the short high intensity workouts, this is why they work scientifically. So your muscles have 4 different muscle fiber types, okay? They're slow twitch oxidative or slow oxidative, fast oxidative glycolytic, and fast glycolytic. Now, those 4 muscle fiber types, they fatigue in what's called a sequential order, provided that you keep the muscle under tension for a particular amount of time. The amount of time that I find to be optimal is anywhere from 60 to 90 seconds or in that range. You can go 50 to 7, but it's kind of in that range. So what that means is when I have people lift weights, I have them do slow controlled movements, but their muscles are always under tension. And here's what happens. That first muscle fiber type, it fatigues relatively quickly. The second muscle fiber types takes a little longer, as does the third. But in that 60 to 90 range is when that fourth fast glycolytic muscle fiber type, which is the thickest muscle bundle that you have, that is when that gets stimulated. And here's what's interesting. Once you get there, once again, provided you've kept the muscle under the load, it takes 2 to 20 seconds to stimulate that muscle fiber. Now, once that muscle fiber is broken down, here's where it gets even more interesting. It takes anywhere from 4 to 10 days, based on the individual and the individual recovery rate, for the person's muscles to recover. And that's why going back into the gym the very next day is counterproductive. What you want to do with the weights is you want to break down the muscle tissue. You want to allow them to compensate, but not only compensate, you want them to super compensate, which means I want to give them enough time to grow stronger. And that's why I can get people results. I can get them stronger in a shorter period of time while saving their joints. Because I talk about aging gracefully in the book. And most people, when you look at the programs that are out there, and I've been calling these things out for a long time, they are very dangerous. When you're throwing weights around, you are damaging your joints. And joint health is so important to longevity. And if you can keep your joints healthy, the quality of life is going to be so much better for people. And then keeping the strength levels up as they age, because we all lose strength. Does that make sense, Mike?
Yeah, yes, it does make sense. And I was going to ask another thing too, that I did a little bit of weight training a little bit, back in the day till I got married. That one day you work on your upper body, and then the next day you'd be working on your lower body. Is that still hold true?
It can hold true, but for me, I don't do it like that. I do full body units at a time. Now you can break those up. You can go upper body, lower body. But Mike, even in that scenario, I'll put it to you like this, and I'll explain it. Every day is kidney day. And here's what I mean by that. I work my upper body one day. My overall system is taxed. My kidneys, my heart, my lungs, all those things are taxed. They still have to recover. So I go in Monday, I work my upper body. Yeah, I worked my upper body, right? But I go in Tuesday and I work my lower body. I've just doubled up on other parts of my body. So what I'm doing then is I'm overtraining my body. If I suggest clients who want to split their body parts up, I'll do a Monday upper body, maybe a Wednesday lower, or a Thursday lower. So the myth is that you have to train every day. You have to train your body parts 2 days per week. You don't have to do it like that. There's so many better ways. The problem is that this industry that I'm in is not regulated. And so people are throwing things out there, and you see big muscular people, excuse me, they're genetically gifted, but for the average person, that doesn't work for most of us. Mm-hmm. And so training your body as a unit allows you to stimulate it and then to recover in another way.
And also does frame size as well too factor in, having being muscular or somewhat muscular, that like, small frame, medium frame, large frame, like, you're small boned, medium boned, large boned and all that. Does that also take factor as well too?
Absolutely. Because what you're looking there for now is you're looking at individualization. And with that individualization comes different recovery rates. And so some people recover faster from exercise. Like some people recover slower. There was a study done out of Canada, and a guy, what he did, he had something called a bod pod. And the bod pod, what it was this, it was a way to measure muscle and fat. And it just gave you a really good overall picture of what was happening. So what he did was he took a group of people and he trained them just kind of like I do high intensity training. And then he had them come in every single day to see when the muscle growth actually took place. Now, some people, it was 3 days. Some people, the average was right in the area of 7. One person, 18 days before they got a response, which is crazy because we're looking at a week by week basis rather than a period of time for recovery. So what I do in the book is I give people outlines. I start them off with 3 days a week so they can learn the program. I have a home program. I have a gym program. And then what we do, once you learn the program, you begin to slowly increase the intensity. And then what you do is you cut down to 2 days a week. And then I explain to people, I let them know, I'm like, hey, listen, you might not be able to recover from that second workout every time. So you may do 2 workouts one week and 1 the next. And what I try to teach people is to become your own trainer, to listen to your body, to make sure you're feeling good and getting stronger. Now, I'll have people who come in, they'll train a couple days a week. They're like, oh my gosh, I feel fantastic. I want to train more. And my answer is no, I don't want you to train more. Because the reason you feel so good is because we're giving you the proper dose of exercise to elicit the best response. I look at exercise in dose response ideas. For example, if you get sick, your doctor's going to give you an average dose of antibiotic, the least amount to elicit the best response. I look at weight training as medicine. So I'm going to give you a dose of medicine and we're going to see how you respond to it. If it's too much, we reduce the dose. If it's too little, we increase the dose. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And also, I was going to mention about the 3-day workout. Like, say, if you went in Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, what would Monday consist of, Wednesday, and what would Friday consist of?
We're going to consistently do the same workout. The first 2 weeks are to learn the process. After those 2 weeks are over, we'll do a couple more weeks, then we'll add a couple of exercises. So what I do is I peak you and I add a little bit of exercise, but you're still within that 15-minute range of a workout, but I'm increasing the volume, thereby and putting a little more demand on your body to elicit the best response. And then we see how you respond from there. And
Okay.
like I said, some people, it's as little as 1 workout per week. I have a guy that comes into the gym on Monday and he had a shoulder problem from shingles. So we started him out. He couldn't lift his arm. He just couldn't lift his arm. He had constant pain. I started him out at 2 days a week. I'm like, Ron, 2 days a week is too much for you. Let's lower it to 1. We're over a year later. He comes in, he can lift his shoulder up. His strength levels are back. So, and once again, it's unheard of for most people. But when you look at it, and when you read the book, you're going to understand the science behind it. Now, the second W, Mike, that I use is walking. And I suggest to my clients, and a lot of people come to me for weight loss, for fat loss, not just weight loss. Fat loss is important. I want to keep your muscle. I'm going to keep your bones healthy, but I want to reduce body fat levels. And in order to do that, that's the watching your diet part. So we create what's called a calorie deficit. But I also have my clients walk within 15 minutes after their evening meal. And I do that, and I tell them to do that in a very calm, it's a very casual walk. You're not walking it gives you a cardiovascular benefit, but you're just not walking for any major reason other than to help you digest your food and to help your brain to go outside, get some sunshine, look at the beauty of this beautiful creation in which we live. You get to look at the trees, and right now they're sprouting flowers, and which creates a little bit of allergies for me, but it's still beautiful to look at. And Mike, listen, there was a study done years ago, and a guy, he took 3 different scenarios. He took walking, he took eating and walking, and he took walking and eating. And then what he did 3 hours later, he measured how many calories that you burned. And what he concluded was when you ate and then walked, it increased your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, by 25 to 30%, which is what you want when you're in a calorie reduced diet. Let me take that further. So when you get hungry, Mike, there's a hormone it's a signal from your stomach to your brain. The hormone is called ghrelin. And what it is, it's telling your brain, hey, you got to eat. You're going to starve. It's a God-given design that we have this thing that tells us we're hungry. That takes about 20 minutes for that hunger signal to hit your brain. When you fill your stomach up, when you eat, it takes about 45 minutes to an hour for leptin to signal from your stomach to your brain to say, hey, we're full. Now think about what I just said. I tell people to walk within a 15-minute time period for 30 minutes after their evening meal. Now that aids in digestion, but guess what else it does? It allows leptin to reach your brain to say, hey, you're actually full right now. You're hungry, because most people, they go from the table to the couch watch some TV and mindlessly eat some ice cream or something else like that, and then worry about like, hey, I'm gaining weight. And so, but the weight thing is that's that's the next W in that. But the walking is so good for your metabolic rate. It's so good for your digestion, and it's so good for your brain. And so that's how I approach that W in the middle of that.
And of course, makes me hungry from ice cream. We'll get to the weight part in just 1 minute with the Gospel of Fitness with Steve McKinney. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com. Powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable, custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. It's 1-800-303-3960 or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those you love be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews. And Eve 11 enjoys by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassie, Boris Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today, for It Goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Coming soon, Missing 2 by Mia Molson-Zia, double expense, double the fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 exquisite paintings and King David Psalms. Sweet Psalmist gives new perspective of David through the Psalms he wrote, and it's the time of shepherd where it started, and complicated yet turbulent relationship with King Saul. It's story of love, betrayal, repentance, hope, and more. Check out the Sweet Psalmist on Amazon by Serena Wagner. Keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. Also brought to you by Sensei Swing Eric Diamond with his latest All of Me, featuring the title track I've Gotten a Heartache, Bring Me Sunshine, Strike a Match more. Eric's a multi-award winning artist, inducted in numerous Hall of Fame. Album, Entertainer of the Year. He'll be releasing a new CD soon. Check out the amazing Eric Diamond today, ericdiamondmusic.com. Follow on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and all platforms worldwide. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com. 40 podcast platforms, 100 countries. Take us with you on any mobile device. Follow us on Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Apple, and more. For great gift ideas, get Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies. Makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Great books, merchandise, and more. And support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. We're here with the amazing author of The Gospel of Fitness, Steve McKinney, here on the Mike Wagner Show. Personal trainer, 30 years, jiu-jitsu black belt as well, too. And before we get to the watching our diet, sometimes you got to watch it, defend yourself. You'd be a jiu-jitsu black belt for 17 years.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Still train regularly. I use my weight training to help me train, to keep my muscles strong. And I was like I think I mentioned to you earlier before we got on the show that I was in Chicago this week for a seminar, had an absolute blast. I spent 8 hours on the mats. I was by far the oldest guy there, I'll repeat that one more time, by far the oldest guy there.
That's a good thing.
It's a great thing. And it is really, really fun, to be in that community of people and just, the thing about that is I do think it's important that we be able to defend ourselves. And for me, it's like, I just look at it like this. At 64 years old now, I'm probably not going to get in a fight. I sure hope I'm not. But if someone came after me, I don't know if I'd win, but I will tell you this, I got a chance. And in the world of jiu-jitsu, if you can get a person to the ground, they always say the ground is the ocean and I'm the shark. And so once you get somebody there, you got a chance. And so that's just the way I look at things. I'm always looking at, kind of being aware of what's going on and trying to protect myself, my family, and those type of things. And I do think it also builds self-confidence. It's just one of those things that, it's like, yeah, this is fun. This is because I'm in there rolling with people, Mike, and we're trying to choke each other, trying to get an arm bar. So it's kind of like a fight without a fight. So, but it's fun. It's fun. It's just the weirdest thing, but I still love it. I get to train with my son. We have a jiu-jitsu school. We actually have 3 different schools now. We just opened our 3rd one. So that's been a lot of fun as well.
It sounds like it too. When you mentioned about the ground being there with the shark, that's appropriate for Shark Week as well.
There you go. Yeah, that's coming up, right? That's coming up. So
Oh my gosh, it's faster than I expected. I have to go train my sharks in order to do that. So,
I love it. I love it.
oh
But
yes,
yeah.
and of course a great career too, being Mr. Bodybuilder back in 1990 as well.
Yeah, and once again, fell in love with the weights. I actually, back in my day, Mike, we played slow pitch softball, and I did that for a living for like 5 years. And once I graduated from that, I'm like, I'm going to try my hand at this bodybuilding thing. And so my first one was in 1987. I went to Chicago. I did not do well. I finished top five, but what was not a good performance. But I learned, and I learned what it took. And I thought, when I do this again, I'm going to be in great shape. And so in 1990, there were 90 plus competitors, and I won both my division and the overall. So I beat over 90 competitors at that time. And so, yeah, so that is once again, been doing athletic stuff my whole life, and just enjoy the competition part of it, and just love. I think more for me, I like the training more than I do the competition. I love to train. It's just fun for me.
Mhm.
So, and
And
all these things fit together.
what are some of the other things that you also as well do, like with any cardiovascular? You ride a bike, you hike, or anything else like that?
My cardiovascular training comes from my weights, but also you're going to get some cardiovascular benefit from jujitsu. Sometimes I'll do 5 minute rounds, and your cardiovascular clip is very, very high. Mike, here's what's interesting about weight training properly and the way that I do it. When you're training with time under tension, as I said earlier, once you finish that set, there's a huge blood flow that goes from the muscles toward the heart. Now, your heart it can't process that much blood, so some of it kind of goes into a holding pattern. The other part of it, the heart pumps it out really hard. Here's the beauty of that. That increases what's called stroke volume. And so cardiovascular is running your heart at a high clip, and it's beating a certain amount of time. Stroke volume is different. For me, stroke volume, and for all of us, stroke volume, it makes the heart more efficient. Here's a crazy, here's a crazy example. My resting pulse rate is 38 beats per minute. And that to me comes from years of training. I remember years ago reading this guy said, hey, if you do heavy leg work, your heart's going to be healthy. And so I've always done that. When I go to the doctor, I always warn the nurse. I'm like, listen, my heart rate is very, very low. And the reason I warned the nurse is because one time I went in, a nurse panicked and tried to call an ambulance. I'm like, why are you calling an ambulance?
Oh
I'm in the doctor's office already. And
Oh
so she went and
no!
grabbed the doctor and brought him in. And I'm like, and he knew because he's been my doctor for a while. It is. So yeah, so that's where my cardiovascular comes in. It comes really from the weights, but the secondary part for me, what the weights allow me to do is they allow me to do the things that I love. And one of the things that I love to do is jujitsu. I can go on hikes, I can do all that stuff because I'm still in really good shape, and I'm very thankful for that.
Hmm. And certainly did as well too. And of course, have a little ice cream as a little treat as well too. So I'm kidding.
No, you can actually do that, just not overeating. That's the big thing. Just keeping within moderation. And that's where we get to the third W of the system. It's called watching your diet. Now, Mike, when people need to lose body fat, a lot of clients come to me with that. The one thing I tell them is like, listen, we have to be able to measure what you're doing. Because people come to me and they'll say, hey, I don't eat that much. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're 275 pounds. You eat more than that much. And so the big thing, and I don't mean any disrespect for that, but the big thing is we lie to ourselves about how much food we eat. I see this all the time. And so what I tell them is like, what I want you to do is start measuring. I want you to write down everything you eat, put it in one of the apps. There's apps that you can use that'll count your calories for you. That way you'll get a clear picture of how much food you're eating. Then what we do is we create a caloric deficit. I like to go about 500 calories over your basal metabolic rate. You just burn a certain number of calories each day. So I try to go under that. Now, a lot of people say, oh, counting calories, that's so outdated. It's simply not. And you're never going to get around that science because calories they really do matter. I understand the arguments against it because there are different ways to go about it. But the simplest way to start is to start with caloric count. Then you can expand from there and you can figure that out. So I do suggest eating real food, healthy food, food that has nutritional value. You know, we're learning more and more scientifically about the foods you eat, how they affect your brain, how they affect your body. You want to stay with those things. Those are super important. And you know, I just eat real food. That's the big thing. And then you want to keep your protein levels for men 90 to 120 grams, for women 70 to 90. I don't go much higher than that. If a person's bigger, they might do that. But if they're looking at reducing body fat levels, here's what I tell them. Body fat levels are controlled primarily by dietary intake. They're not controlled by exercise. Too much exercise, too much high intensity exercise for long periods of time increases your cortisol level. Cortisol is a catabolic hormone, meaning that it eats away muscle tissue and it promotes body fat. So you want to keep your cortisol levels under control. Now, after a training session, Mike, cortisol levels will be high. And there was a thing that came out years ago. It was a cortisol lowering pill. Take this after your workout, you'll lower your cortisol. I'm like, that's not, it's a bad idea. And here's why. The way that our bodies are set up, the way that our bodies are created is cortisol is necessary for the recovery process and the muscle growth process. If I remove cortisol out of there, I've removed the chain that builds the muscular strength and the hypertrophy, the muscular growth in the middle of that. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does too. And I was also going to ask you as well too about with the diet and everything. How's metabolism a factor as well? Because I've noticed that I was told I have a high metabolism rate where you try to build, but it's like 5 pounds up, 5 pounds below and everything. How much does metabolism factor into, like, you know, workouts, diets, and everything like that if you have a high or low metabolism?
Oh, it factors immensely. So for someone like you, it's very hard for people to lose body fat because they're kind of uncomfortable because you're a bit hungry all the time. You want to stay controllably hungry. My joke is you're always a hostess Susie Q away from real happiness when you're on a diet. Right?
Ain't that the truth? We just had one after a meal. You just hit on the head.
That's it.
Ultimate happiness. When does that end? You never know.
The second part, though, is people with a higher metabolism, what you have to do is you have to increase your caloric intake. But you want to do that while stimulating muscle, because we're not just trying to gain weight for weight gain's purposes. We're trying to gain muscular body weight. The problem is when you're trying to gain muscular body weight, you can feel bloated all the time from overeating. So what you have to do is you have to figure out more calorie dense foods, nuts, avocados, things that have a higher fat content that increase your caloric intake, provided that you properly stimulated muscle and you want to keep that muscle tissue at the highest rate that it can be. Because for us, muscle is life. And as you age, you lose muscle. We lose energy, but that comes from muscular loss. So we want to keep those muscles engaged the whole time. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does too. And of course, we want everybody to watch it as well too. And more on Steve McKinney with the Gospel of Fitness and more. You listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author me and Wilson Missing, the Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner, and the Sensei Swing Eric Diamond with All of Me, now on EricDiamondMusic.com. We'll be back to Multitown Steve McKinney of the Gospel of Fitness after this timeout.
Hey, everybody, this is Eric Diamond, and you're listening to The Mike Wagner Show.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention The Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hi, I'm Burl Barer, legendary American author, and I'm here to tell you about Missing, the new mystery suspense novel by Mian Mosensia. It's really a good book. Very surprising. Never metaphor I didn't like, especially in this book. Here you have a main character whose life has been filled with despair. His wife died in 9/11. His young daughter died of a rare disease. He's not a happy camper. What does he do for a living? He's a physical fitness trainer. When somebody hardly knows, somebody he's never met, he only has encountered them on an internet chat line, goes missing. This is his journey. He's going to go rescue them. This is his search for redemption, his search for his own personal promised land. He couldn't do anything about the death of his wife, the death of his child, but maybe he could rescue this woman he's never met. That is, if she exists. Missing by Mian Mosensia, international in scope, vastly entertaining, full of surprises. I suggest you get it, either paperback or an electronic edition for your Kindle. Missing by Mian Mosensia.
Hey, everybody, this is Eric Diamond. You're listening to The Mike Wagner Show. You can check out our music and know all about us at www.ericdiamondmusic.com. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, TikTok. You can friend me on Facebook. You can follow me on Facebook, and you can even buy both of my albums off of Facebook. Just get a hold of me on the Facebook Messenger. We have them available in CD or thumb drive. Thank you so much, and hope you have a great day.
The Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Serena Wagner's book, The Sweet Psalmist, now available on Amazon. This book includes 30 exquisite paintings by well-known and unknown painters and King David's Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives us a new perspective on his life in this book. Through the Psalms he wrote, his time as a shepherd in the field is where the book starts, and it goes on to describe his complicated and turbulent relationship with King Saul as well as other events. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, and more. It also offers advice on approaching God and living a life that pleases him. Check out the book, The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, now available on Amazon. Keywords, Sweet Psalmist, Serena Wagner.
Hey, this is Ray Powers, and boy, are you in luck. Right place, right time. Tuned in to The Mike Wagner Show. You heard me.
We're back with author Steve McKinney of The Gospel of Fitness here on The Mike Wagner Show. And last week we covered all the bases and what can people do to achieve it, and how does one person actually get started?
Okay, so obviously the book's on Amazon. It's out there. It actually went to number 1 and 2 categories when I released it. So it's been super helpful. So first thing is get the book and start reading it. What you're going to find is you're going to find the logical approach to this. And so the backstory on getting this thing started, I trained a guy years ago, 10 years ago. He's a pastor friend of mine. He said, "Hey, I know you're a trainer. Can you train me?" I took him through a workout. He said, "Man, that's the best workout I've ever been through in my life." So we stayed in touch. I'd be on his podcast every now and then. We just talk about things. And then maybe 6-8 months ago, he was asking me some questions. And I said, his name's Pete. I said, "Pete, listen, I got a book I've 90% done. I said, I can send it over to you." He goes, "Oh, I have a publishing company. And we just started a publishing company. Send your book over." So sent the book over. We tweaked it. When I sat down to write the book, Mike, I thought, you know what? I don't really know how to write a book. I know how to write sermons. I write sermons every week, and I put them in a logical order. So what I did with this is I put it in a logical order. Let me read a few of the things from the table of contents to you, just so you get an idea. So one of the first things that we deal with, and this is in part 1, we deal with what I call the problem. And the problem is this: it's what we're fighting. And we're fighting 5 different things. We're fighting aging. We're fighting sarcopenia, which is age-related muscle loss. We're fighting fat gain, which comes from that sarcopenic activity, that age-related muscle loss, lowering the amount of calories that I burn, increasing my body fat levels. Then here's what's interesting. We're fighting the loss of balance as we get older. Our balance isn't as good as it used to be. It's really important, but a lot of times the loss of balance, it comes from the loss of strength, provided there are no neurological problems that people have. And so that loss of balance comes from loss of strength. The other thing we're fighting as we age, Mike, is we're fighting the loss of hope. And a lot of people lose hope as they age. They're not feeling as good. They are starting to lose their friends. And this, can happen at a younger age, but they get hopeless, they get depressed. And so it's really important that we learn what we're fighting against. Now, The next thing that I put in the book, I put in the 10 mistakes that we make. And there are a lot of them, but the number one mistake is going in like a lion and out like a lamb. And here's what I mean by that. When January rolls around, everybody runs to the big box gyms. They charge you $20 a month. They charge you a low rate. The gym is packed in January. Everyone's in like a lion. February, they're out like a lamb. And that's a huge mistake because what they do is they go in, they're gonna change their diet, they're gonna quit smoking, they're gonna quit drinking, they're gonna work out every day. Way too much change. You got to make subtle changes in the middle of it, and it burns you out. And so another mistake is people aren't prepared. They don't know how to prepare. They don't set proper goals. You have to have a goal. Let's say I want to be able to do 20 push-ups. That's a proper goal. To make it even more defined, I want to be able to do 20 push-ups in 2 months. And I'm just throwing that out there as a guideline.
Right.
Now that's a real defined goal. People come to me and they go, "Oh, I just want to feel better." I'm like, "Well, what does that mean?" That's very esoteric. What is feeling better going to be for you? Well, they'll say, "Well, I want to fit better in my clothes." I'm like, "Perfect." So now what we do is we want to lose body fat. So now let's set a proper goal. The proper goal could be, and I put it in the book, 20 pounds of body fat lost within 8 weeks. There's a proper goal. It's set, and there's a time frame on it. So now we have goals. So the mistakes are just making things very, very esoteric and not very defined. If you can measure it, then you can adjust it. If it's not measured, then you can't adjust. And then you have to be able to prepare what you're going to do. You have to have a plan. The secret of your success is in your daily routine. What does your daily routine look like? For me, I'm up early. I have my time. I'm a pastor. I spend a lot of time in my devotionals, journaling, and that helps my brain. That starts my day in the proper direction, and then I'm prepared for my day. You know, another thing is, I think that people miss prioritizing their health. They say, "Hey, I just want to be healthier." That has to be a number one goal. That cannot be a secondary goal. I tell my clients, you treat every client that I have is on a session by session basis. So there'll be a person there scheduled for 10 o'clock on Monday and Thursday. And I tell them, you treat these sessions as if they're a doctor's appointment, because if you do, you'll have way less doctor's appointments. So this is a way for us to get healthy. And then what I do from there, so I have the problem, and then what I move to is the plan. And the plan is what we just talked about. We talked about the 3W approach to fitness, and that is the plan. Then the third part is I look at the program. And what the program is, I put together a way that people can train at home with just dumbbells, or I put a routine together to where they train at the gym. I illustrate every exercise. I explain exactly how to do it in a safe fashion. I explain the order in which to do the exercises. I show them how to progress, how to adjust, how to not be so rigid in their programs. For example, I did 8 hours of jujitsu this weekend. My Monday is my workout day. I did not work out today simply because it was planned. But there's no way that would have been a wise thing for me to do. That would have broke my body down. I may wait till Thursday if I feel good and ready to go. Then I'll train with the weights this week. So I try to teach people how to become your own trainer, how to make it fit you. We're ultimately, Aristotle said, it is a fool for one not to be his own physician. And what he meant by that is, yes, we can get advice from other people, but ultimately our health is our responsibility in the middle of it. And so that's how I approach it.
And coming from here as well, importantly, and besides getting a book, what's your website? How do people contact you?
I'm at fitnessandmore.net, fitnessandmore.net. They can also email me at steve@fitnessandmore.net. And I am on Facebook as Steve McKinney and Instagram as Fitness and More STL. And I try to put things out there just to help people, motivate them a little bit each week, show them some little clips. I have YouTube channel that I use for my clients. Most of that is for rehabilitation exercises. A lot of people, they don't know how to rehab exercises. So if I have a specific problem for people, I help them with that. I also do online coaching for people, for those who want to take it to another level other than the book. And I do some one-on-one privates in the middle of that as well.
Okay, that sounds great. We want everybody to check it out. We're here with author Steve McKinney of The Gospel of Fitness here on the Mike Wagner Show. Steve, just a few more things. What else can we expect from you 2025 and beyond?
Yes, so I've got some offers out there from some publishers for a second book, which I have 3 more in my brain. They're not on paper yet, but they're in my soul. So we'll see what happens. But I'm just kind of looking at offers at this point. I mean, I have put a lot of work into this one. I've learned so much on how this thing works. I do a lot of podcast. I did a book tour, which was fantastic. I'm very good at going to businesses and helping businesses get their group healthy, talking to people. I'm very good at that. That part is something that I love to do. I do a public speaking thing, do question and answers in the middle of that. And so, but yeah, I'm just looking forward. I'm going to ride this wave for as long as it goes, see where it takes me. And then if I get some good offers, we'll look at a second book. And if I don't, well, then this has been a great run. But I do think that there's some things out there. And my overall goal, Mike, is just to help people to live stronger, longer, and better.
And that's a really good point as well. And who do you consider biggest influence in a career?
As far as man, there's a lot of guys in a small community of high intensity training. So my biggest influence is a guy named Ellington Darden. I've learned a lot from him. There's another guy, Dr. Doug McGuff. Those guys in the weight training area, that is the guys that I really like to study. There's so many people. I guess the overall guy was a guy that started in the 70s. Invented Nautilus. Guy's name's Arthur Jones.
I remember that, the Nautilus. Yes.
And he was fantastic. He was really an innovator, and he started this community years and years ago. So I love still reading that old stuff, and I think those principles still apply to this day. And so for me, obviously I'm a Christian, so being a pastor, Jesus is my big prime example in the middle of that. And so I just enjoy my Christian faith, and I am very careful in how I approach that, but I just love that part of my life as well. And so, yeah, that's kind of my big influences in the jiu-jitsu world. I got a lot of those. I can go on forever there. And so, but it's a lot of fun for me to, I'm very, 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 I'm thankful for my life. I'm very thankful.
And very amazing as well, too. What's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
So here's the best advice I can give. First of all, it'd be to buy the book. So it's going to help everybody in the middle of that. And the second thing is this, here's my big takeaway. Weight training is medicine for your body. Walking is medicine for your brain. Watching your diet is medicine for your biology. All these things that I promote are natural medicines that'll make your life better. And that is my big takeaway.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important as well. We're here with author Steve McKinney of The Gospel of Fitness here in the Mike Wagner Show, personal training 30 years. Steve, a very thanks for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Learned a lot. Looking forward to having soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. And what's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your book?
Amazon.com for the book. It's also on Barnes & Noble. Amazon seems to be easier for most people to go there. And then fitnessandmore.net. Steve@fitnessandmore.net is my email address. Fitness and More STL is the Instagram handle, and Steve McKinney on Facebook. Just reach out to me. I'll help you in any way that I can.
All right. That's a great idea as well. Once again, Steve, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Learned a lot. Looking forward to him soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. We wish all best. And Steve, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate being on your show, Mike. It was an absolute joy.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention The Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, this is Eric Diamond. You're listening to the Mike Wagner Show. You can check out our music and know all about us at www.ericdiamondmusic.com. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, TikTok. You can friend me on Facebook. You can follow me on Facebook, and you can even buy both of my albums off of Facebook. Just get a hold of me on the Facebook Messenger. We have them available in CD or thumb drive. Thank you so much and hope you have a great day.
Hi, I'm Burl Bear, legendary American author, and I'm here to tell you about Missing, the new mystery suspense novel by Mian Mosensia. It's really a good book. Very surprising. Never metaphor I didn't like, especially in this book. Here you have a main character whose life has been filled with despair. His wife died in 9/11. His young daughter died of a rare disease. He's not a happy camper. What does he do for a living? He's a physical fitness trainer. When somebody hardly knows, someone he's never met, he only has encountered them on an internet chat line, goes missing. This is his journey. He's going to go rescue them. This is his search for redemption, his search for his own personal promised land. He couldn't do anything about the death of his wife, the death of his child, but maybe he could rescue this woman he's never met. That is, if she exists. Missing by Mian Mosensia, international in scope, vastly entertaining, full of surprises. I suggest you get it, neither paperback or an electronic edition for your Kindle. Missing by Mian Mosensia.
The Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Serena Wagner's book, The Sweet Psalmist, now available on Amazon. This book includes 30 exquisite paintings by well-known and unknown painters and King David Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives us a new perspective on his life in this book. Through the Psalms he wrote, his time as a shepherd in the field is where the book starts, and it goes on to describe his complicated and turbulent relationship with King Saul as well as other events. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, and more. It also offers advice on approaching God and living a life that pleases him. Check out the book, The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, now available on Amazon. Keywords, Sweet Psalmist, Serena Wagner.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.